we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach out to the podcast, hit us up on our DMs at the Bigmark Podcast or at the Bigmark Pod. You can always check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thebigmarkpod, and donate to the podcast there. And we always like you to rate the podcast if you ever have a chance. But if you don't, please subscribe and like the videos if you're watching on YouTube, and share with your friends. You know, we always want to spread the word and grow the audience and the community that is the Bigmark Podcast, friends and family. So again, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I'm really excited to do today's episode, and I feel like I have to do this right now. Anyone who's watching who thinks Adam Sandler is actually on my podcast right now, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not the case. I'm just going to be talking about Adam Sandler. I've had a couple podcasts I've done already that have just been about comedians and people that I like, and I've seemed to have disappointed some people who have come across the podcast, and I appreciate your time, and I don't want to make you feel like I'm misleading you in any way, but I feel like I'm always pretty descriptive, and the thumbnail is usually just me. And anyway, what are you going to do? But again, thanks for watching, and I'm really excited for today's episode, like I said, because it's just this guy is really funny. You know, Adam Sandler is someone who's like been a part of many people's lives, you know, multi-generations, but especially a lot of people my age, you know, just movies and television and just comedy and zeitgeist and culture and pop culture and everything. He's just the man, like Adam Sandler. Like, oh my gosh, what a cool guy. Born Adam Richard Sandler on September 9th, 1966. So he's 57 right now. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, but he actually grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, which I didn't really know. And I thought that was pretty cool. He's a comedian and actor. He was discovered doing some stand-up, at least as far as SNL is concerned. And it's kind of one of those funny things with Adam Sandler. Like, I know he has a stand-up act, and in fact, I saw him do one of his recent shows in Toronto. Oh my gosh, excuse me. And he's kind of one of those guys he's a comedian and also an actor, but, you know, kind of hones his chops, or like, you know, works out bits and things on stage. And, you know, like many actor comedians who have been on SNL, that's kind of how he started. Like I said, you know, his movies and television experience, appearances, I should say, you know, have just he seemingly has kind of always been there, at least through my childhood. And, you know, I've kind of seen him as a younger kind of actor person on the scene, kind of like grow up into this, I don't know, comedic role model, father figure, funny person for so many people all over the world. Right. And I think that there were bits in his act that really shed some light upon, you know, I think how people see the comedian. And it was funny because I'd never seen like true stand-up live. I've seen countless specials and listened to many comics and watched Just for Laughs ad nauseum as a kid. I loved watching stand-up, but it just, I don't know, I've never really meant to go. And like I said, I thought, you know, for my first time seeing Adam Sandler as the first stand-up comedian, I thought that was pretty good. You know, I'm so sorry, everyone. Some of my favorite movies that Adam Sandler is in, you know, I could probably go through most of them because just I love all the movies that he's done. You know, Billy Madison is just so quotable, and it's so cool because you kind of see Adam Sandler even from some of his first movies. He's starting to introduce a lot of his friends and making sure his friends are working with him, and I think that's such a great thing to do, right? Like, you have the opportunity to have all these people work with you on a movie, and if they can be all your friends, all the better. Happy Gilmore, tremendous movie. I mean, this is episode 153 now. It's kind of getting hard to remember all the ones. I don't think I've done a single episode on Happy Gilmore, but I'd love to. Again, I could talk about that movie ad nauseum. Hilarious movie about golf. It just ticks all the boxes. Waterboy, one of the great. It's funny, in this little list, this little string of movies here that I love and that were a big part of my childhood from Adam Sandler. A lot of them are sports movies. And Adam Sandler likes sports. Like, there's just something really authentic about Adam Sandler. He doesn't. It kind of seems like what you see is what you get. Like, even down to his fashion. He doesn't really seem to give a shit about what he wears. And yeah, it's interesting his kind of presentation in life, right? Like, again, he just seems like he's there to enjoy and have fun in life, which again is an inspiration, is a true inspiration. The Wedding Singer, one of really truly the great romantic comedies. It's funny, it's original, it has moments that again are highly quotable. Great music in it. Like, I always knew that Adam Sandler was talented, but like when I saw him in concert, he did so much music that I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever, man. Like, I was like speechless, truly. Like, super cool. Like, again, and that's really reflected in The Wedding Singer. And that's one of his first movies with Drew Barrymore, and they just have such a beautiful chemistry, and that's always so cool to see, right? Like, two actors that just click, and again, you see that chemistry on film, and it's an interesting movie too, in the sense where it has a pretty unique premise. I mean, I'm not sure, you never know about some of these movies. They might be remakes or retellings of old stories. But again, super cool. He Wedding Singer, he did the movie 50 First Dates with Drew as well. It's just again, the way Drew and Adam are, who knows? Like, I'm not sure if they have real chemistry in real life. You never know. But I believe, well, I know Adam's married, but I believe that Drew has been. Mr. Deeds, Big Daddy. Oh my God, Big Daddy was such a huge one. Anger Management was a great movie. The Longest Yard. Longest Yard is probably technically one of the movies of Adam Sandler's that I've seen the most, just because it's one of those movies that, growing up playing football, was always on the bus somewhere. Wherever we were going, some team gathering, The Longest Yard's going on. Tremendous. Speaking of tremendous, Joey Diaz is highly involved in that movie. He's a great, perfect casting, because Joey has been in prison and, is talking about inmates and things like that. But also just like, I love Joey Diaz, and he's amazing in the role. And there's one scene where he's playing football and he gets absolutely dummied on a kickoff, and is getting carted off the field in a daze, going, "Can of corn, I'll be fine. Can of corn, I'll be fine." And it's hilarious, and I love it, and again, infinitely quotable, but it always reminds me of, and I always kind of, I'm starting to feel worse and worse every time I tell this story, but when I used to play for the Beefeaters in London, which was a football team, one of my teammates was not a starter, kind of a third string guy, not really playing a lot, not necessarily the best player on the team. And he got his chance to come in, and when we were just practicing and he was doing his reps and everything, and he like kind of hurt his knee, like pretty significantly, and just was like, bag of ice, get me a bag of ice, I'll be fine. And instantly I thought of the can of corn. So did one of my other teammates, and we just started buckling laughing. Can of corn, I'll be fine. And I'll never forget. Again, tremendous movie, great remake, great casting choice with Adam Sandler. Click. I was looking at Adam's filmography when I was kind of picking out some of my favorite movies here, and Click is one of those movies that it's kind of like deceptive, where it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security and then hits you with some heartfelt shit. And I think, you know, that kind of speaks to what Adam Sandler is all about, right? Like, there's always a nugget of love and warmth and just happiness and friendship and family that kind of reside in the middle of all of Adam Sandler's movies. And sometimes he wraps them up in raunchy comedies, or raunchy antics, I should say. But it always kind of, if not raunchy, just funny type stuff, family-esque, or what have you. But Click is kind of one of those movies where, again, it really gets you in the plums as far as that emotion, and just makes you think about life, but also makes you laugh. Grown Ups. I think Grown Ups is one of the coolest things ever. It's a good movie. It's not necessarily my favorite Adam Sandler movie. Don't tell everyone I said that. But it's so cool because it's clearly Adam Sandler working with all his buddies, getting all his buddies together and putting them on a film set that hopefully the film is going to do really well, and they're all going to make a lot of money, because that's fun and that's what friends are for. But also, you know, it's a little sad because Adam Sandler always wanted Chris Farley to be involved, and sadly Chris passed. And he would have been an interesting addition to Grown Ups, but again, you can tell that Adam really was hit hard by Chris's passing, and you know, he's done that song about him, and when I saw him live, he did that song as well, and it's so beautiful, and just remembering Chris Farley as you know, a light that shined really bright. And, you know, maybe that's an episode that I can do later, and hopefully that one won't trick anybody to think that I have Chris Farley on my episode if I just title that episode Chris Farley, because I can't title these episodes talking about Adam Sandler or thoughts about, like, what do you want me to do? It's in the fucking description, people. Read the shits. Don't fucking come at me. But again, you know, it's, you can tell that Adam Sandler is a sincere, heartfelt kind of guy, and it's really nice to have a person like this around, I will say. Funny People is kind of another one of those movies that it kind of makes you think a little bit. It's another Apatow joint. I think Judd Apatow is one of the kings of doing that, where he kind of lulls you into that false sense of security with the comedy and then hits you with the heartfelt drama. So Funny People, really good movie if you haven't seen that. Not always one of the movies that are name checked as one of Adam Sandler's top movies, but I threw it in there. Those are obviously mostly some Adam's kind of funnier movies, but also he's done excellent dramatic roles in Punch Drunk Love and Rain Over Me and Uncut Gems and Hustle. Uncut Gems, I think, still to this day has one of the best endings of all movies. Yes, I know it's shocking, and yes, I know it's out of nowhere, and spoiler alert, the protagonist dies, but it is brilliant, and it makes the movie, in my opinion. He also has voiced some characters in animated joints like Hotel Transylvania, which is basically like the animated version of Grown Ups, where he has all his friends and they're just doing an animated version of shit. And then 8 Crazy Nights, which is hilarious because 8 Crazy Nights is kind of Adam Sandler's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or, you know, fucking any Mike Myers movie for that matters, but Austin Powers, where Adam voiced a lot of the characters. He played a bunch of characters in that movie, and that's a really, really good one. And then Adam also has an extensive studio album discography. You know, he let out some awesome comedy albums, and again, they're not necessarily stand-up bits, but you know, there's songs and little skits. You know, Piece of Shit Car. You know, a lot of some of the songs that he did in the movies made it into singles. The Hanukkah song. Again, just tremendous. It's funny when he played in the show that we went to. It was kind of like one of the climax, like the penultimate or like one of the last songs that he was playing. He was kind of like going through some of his other songs, like what song he's going to play, and he should I play the Hanukkah song or Piece of Shit Car, or you know, again, Somebody Kill Me Please from Wedding Singer, I Want to Grow Old With You, and things like that. And he played the Farley song, like I said. But again, just really, really beautiful show, and I'm really fortunate to have gone to that again. Not only as my first ever stand-up show, seeing someone do stand-up, but also just to kind of see, you know, someone who is a master at their craft. So it was the I Miss You tour. It was the first show of the tour, which is really interesting. So it's always fun when you see the first show of a tour, because you see a lot of kinks get worked out. And it's also funny seeing the last show of a tour, because usually the band gives them full tits, but they have everything worked out. So depends on what you like. But it's also cool seeing the first show, because it's the fucking first show of the tour. So it's awesome. Like I said, my first stand-up show. So there were some openers. Opening, like Nick Swartzen came out, and there was another comedian, Kevin Nealon, came out, who's been in a lot of Adam Sandler movies. If you've seen Little Nicky, he was the guy with the tits on his head. Kevin James, like the Kevin James, came out, which was a fucking wild party. So it's like hilarious. It feels like he's even taking some of these grown-ups, like his friends, out on the road again to make money. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. Like, this is great. This is awesome. This is like what they do. This is their talent. This is their skill, and they're doing it, and they're making money, and it's earnest, and it's not like, it's not under any pretense, right? Other than wanting to entertain people and putting that first and foremost, and showcasing their talent, but also having fun with your friends and making the most out of a great situation. Jonathan Logren came out too, who is the guy who always crosses his eyes like this in almost all of Adam Sandler's movies, and kind of talks like that. And again, you know, it was an interesting show. Like, Adam Sandler essentially performed for like 2 hours straight, and he no intermissions. And again, it was interspersed with little skit, like not even skits, but he would just, like, you know, be telling stories, stand-up comedian style. And then he'd, you know, put on a pair of glasses and sing a little song about how he wears, you know, old man shorts. You know, he's like, what type of pants gonna wear today? The red pants are short, the blue pants don't fit, the brown pants are dirty, and I don't like the look of the green pants, so I guess it's shorts again, because I dress like a 50-year-old asshole. So, like, shit like that. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but again, really, really funny and heartfelt, and told a lot of story about being in a family and having kids and all kinds of stuff like that. But one of the most interesting parts of the whole show is he pulls out a flashlight, and the audience is dark, and he's kind of like searching around the audience and asking for people, you know, who's like a new couple, or like who's expecting a baby, or who's here by themselves. Like, and then he'd do, like, sing a little thing, and like he'd be like, oh, man here by himself, came alone, no one wanted to come with him, probably thinking about how he's gonna take me to his hotel room and kill me later. Like, again, I'm sorry, Adam, I hope I'm not butchering your shit, but again, super funny. But in that bit, you know, again, he's calling up people, and he's saying, you know, I'm here, the funny man is here, this is what the funny man does, but who makes the funny man laugh? and who's there to, listen to the funny man's problems or take them seriously. And his voice kind of cracked when he said that, and it was heartbreaking in a sense, and beautiful and vulnerable and wonderful to see someone who you think, my God, this guy's had such a long career, almost a 30-year long career in public spotlight, and amazing and funny and seemingly carefree, but yet has so many issues. And his beautiful wife Jackie Sandler's in many of his movies, and he talks about her, and their love is wonderful. And he has a little montage about that. But again, there's a heart to Adam Sandler, and I think that that's what really truly shines through. And I think that that's what people love about Adam is he connects with people that way. He connects with you. Even seeing him live, like even when he came on stage, I wasn't like, oh my God, like starstruck. I was kind of like, oh, I feel like I know this guy, even though, oh my God, like no chance, right? But again, super beautiful show all around. I don't know, wherever you're listening to this, the I Missed You tour, I'm not sure if it's worldwide, but I just saw the first show, so I know it's going to continue on, and I'm sure he's going to feature all types of different people in the lineup, and all of his friends, depending on which city they're in and how their schedules line up too. So, and it sounded like it might be on Netflix and filmed, because they were saying that we might be filmed. So again, wonderful show. It was an amazing opportunity. I'm grateful to have been able to go and see that. And again, Adam Sandler, hope he lives forever. Thank you so much for listening. I love you all. Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, check us out, hit us up, let me know how it goes. I love you all. Peace.